Hello everyone, today's topic of discussion is IMF World Economic Outlook 2023. The International Monetary Fund IMF has recently released its World Economic Outlook 2023, which shows projections for global economic growth and inflation for the year 2023-24. In this video, let us explore the projections and study the several interesting trends and patterns that emerge. First of all, let us know the global growth projections. The IMF has downgraded the global growth projections from early estimates of 3.4% to 2.8% for the year 2023-24. Advanced economies grew by 2.7% last year, but this year the IMF projects that they will only grow by 1.3%. The IMF has lowered the growth projection for the UK and Germany to 0.3% and 0.1% respectively, which is the lowest growth among the advanced economies. India's GDP growth projections for the year 2023-24 have been lowered from the early estimates of 6.1% to 5.9%. Despite this, India will remain the fastest growing economy in the world. Then Japan is the only exception among the advanced economies with a projected growth rate of 1.3% this year compared to 1.1% last year. This is a positive sign for the Japanese economy and indicates that it is weathering the global economic slowdown better than its peers. Now let us unpack the IMF projections. The significant drop in the global growth projections as reported by the IMF underscores the challenges facing the world economy. This downgrade is largely driven by slower growth projections in advanced economies. The slowdown in growth in advanced economies could have a devastating effect on emerging markets, including India. These countries are often dependent on advanced economies for trade and investment. So, any slowdown in these economies could have a ripple effect on the rest of the world. The UK and Germany face the possibility of recession. This is a worrying trend given the importance of these economies in the global market. India's growth projections were lowered from early estimates, but it still remained higher than those of every other country. This is an impressive feat given the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic and the ongoing global economic slowdown. Now guys, let's see the inflation projections. The global inflation rate is projected to come down from 8.7% to 7%. India's inflation rate is projected to come down to 4.9% from 6.7%. The US had an inflation rate of 8% last year, but this year it is projected to come down to 4.5%. The Eurozone inflation rate was 7.3%, but it is projected to come down to 4.7%. The UK and Germany had inflation rates of 9.1% and 8.7% respectively, which are projected to come down to 6.8% and 6.2% this year. Now let us discuss the reasons for high inflation. These high inflation figures from last year for advanced economies are considered hyperinflation due to the sheer size of their economies. During the pandemic, these high economies what did is printed money on a large scale and handed out checks and cash to people, which flooded the market with money. Now people in these countries are suffering the most from high inflation. In contrast, emerging markets fared better due to their more prudent policies during the pandemic. They did not print as much money as advanced economies did, which helped them to keep inflation relatively under control. If inflation continues to rise and global banks continues to raise their rates, and if borrowing aversion from entrepreneurs continues, it is a possibility that global growth may drop below 2%. This has only happened 5 times since the 1970s and would be very bad for the entire world. Additionally, the potential for Russia-Ukraine war could exacerbate the situation further. Overall, the IMF latest World Economic Outlook for 2023-24 presents a mixed picture of global economic growth and inflation. While emerging markets such as India are expected to remain resilient and maintain their status as the fastest growing economies, advanced economies such as the UK and Germany face the possibility of a recession. It is very important for policymakers to monitor the projections closely and adapt accordingly. I hope you like this video. Thank you for watching. Comment below what's your opinion on this topic and don't forget to subscribe this channel for more hot topics like this.